Well, today today sure was a amazing. Really, it was an amazing day for me. But this was really the the one side where this if you didn't see the Orioles today, you wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe it. But this one was quite a game today, and it was so amazing to me that this was such like it was so outstanding. But this was like in the this was such of a team where this is like a different quality or different team I never saw before. I saw them before, but you gotta realize something. This team can really do it. I think a lot of it is where they're gonna have it, where they gonna where they're gonna put it all. The position players, the position players are not decided yet because positions where they're playing now, they should be all back, should be back together in a few days, about another 2 weeks or so. But, uh, but I'm gonna just switch over here to the paper here. I'll tell you all about the stats and everything. So there was no score after 2.5 innings, nothing after three, nothing after four. Here comes the good part here. The Orioles scored 1-0 in the uh, last half of the fifth inning. Last half of the fifth. This was like they scored 4 times in the sixth. They scored 2 in the seventh. And the Yankees scored in their ninth inning. Their ninth inning scored 3 times there. They made it 7-3. That's when it ended up with the possibility of which I think this game was really where the lineup was. I think a lot of the times, on the other times, it was really clever. It was so clever. It was really amazing where all the teams were so kind of like was so like it was so spread out a lot more. I think more or less it was. It was 3 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for the Yankees, and for the Orioles had 7 runs on 8 hits and no errors. That's for the Orioles so far. Just so people think I wasn't kidding like this, but I wouldn't be such of a not a liar, but somebody else could be. But somebody couldn't been. Nobody wouldn't believe it. But the next game is where the Orioles play Pittsburgh tomorrow afternoon, and that one I'm a little I'm a little leery about it. The last game I saw against this team was on Interleague. This was one American League and one National League team, American and the National League, and it just what can you say about these two teams? But you just can't tell how these teams are going to really look through on the other side of the TV screen. But these teams, but only one of these two teams, the Orioles really beat the Yankees today by a score of 7-3. But this was like a club where it sounded like it was so good for the Orioles to play each thing. And this game to me was very good. Was very good playing time today. I think this game was well played at Sarasota. I think it was well played too. But I think this was kind of like it was so honest for people that just just didn't realize that the Orioles were so good. But you can really think that this team can do more better, more like the club. I think this club is really going to have the pitching is getting better. And I think this is a team where I know this team can really play better baseball. I think a lot of these teams will be playing better. They're starting to look a little less worse than what I thought. I'll have to come back right after this to tell you what the next thing is. The next of the, which will, I'll be back after this. Am I all right, Brad?
Don't end it.
Huh?
Don't end it. No,
I'm not going to end it.
you're about to. Just click here.
I don't think you can. This Orioles team is one of the biggest teams of the years. And this team, I'd say one thing for this. This is kind of like a fantastic series for what the Orioles are going to do. I think I decided where things are really going to work out for them this time. I think they'll have a good ball club, but for only one word. If the rosters get kind of cut, then they'll be all right with the cuts. The cuts they can do for the most of this ball club could be they got to be down by 26 guys by March 28th. And accordingly, that's one thing I would really say that it was going to be worked out for it. But this was, I mean, this side of which I can respond to stuff like this, but this was kind of real. This was real. The real thing that really didn't bother me was how this ball club's going to be. The hitting was wonderful today. The hitting was better, and it was so good today that I seen a lot of the hits were so active, were so good today that you couldn't believe it. I could see a lot of things starting improving with these guys. I think the Orioles will be ready to go this in the spring. I think a lot of these teams are going to be better, are going to look good. But this team, to me, this team looks like it really sounds like it's really going to be a really fast moving game. Not a fast, hard mover, but it's going to be a fast game this year. But this Orioles team today, I mean, today it was like amazing. This was so amazing today. I mean, it was amazing. This team I can really see things start to come by this of the Orioles organization. I can agree with some of this stuff, but this team can really do it. I think most of it is I think most of these teams really don't look good for what they're looking for. But this team to me looks better. I think the pitching looks better than any club I ever seen. But this team can really be really active like they couldn't have done any better for picking teams out this summer, this spring. I mean, the Orioles are really doing wonderful right now. They are, but I'm just a little not sure. I'm not sure how this team's gonna really be in during the season. What I'm waiting for is the regular season. They'll open against the Los Angeles Angels, and I'm looking for a lot of speed, a lot of run scorings, a lot of run to score, a lot of runs to score over that plate and get that strike going to black. That's what I'm looking for. By these strike threes and all that stuff. I'd like to see where all of this is. I think this team's really going to be a very special club to me. I think this team's really going to look good for what I saw this afternoon. And what I saw was the pitching's going to get better for one. I think the catching's going to get better, and the hitting's wonderful. I mean, I really saw some nice hits today. I saw some really nice hitting coming out of this team. I mean, the catching's really going to get better for Adley Rutschman. Adley hit a home run this afternoon, and it was amazing. That was sort of like the start where I think this one's going to get a lot more smarter than what they think. What you think about it, I think a lot of you guys have a lot of work to do before the season really does open. And tomorrow afternoon, the Orioles play again in Bradenton, Florida. And I'm just hoping this team can really be really ready for this team. The last team I saw so far against this club was a little bit more like, was sort of like it was so convenient, was so clean that you couldn't believe. You couldn't believe it at first, but then you could believe. But some of the signs that you think you could really think about what you could see her in that Orioles team today. It was so good that you couldn't have Brandon High in there talking about everything, about what the rules are going to have. But the clock, I'm a little leery about the clock being on the field like that. You got to time the pitches, where the pitches come in. If they're up or down, clock violation, or whatever they are. But this one's a lot more, it has to be clean baseball. Very clean baseball. I mean, the cleaner you go, the better it will. I'm just not sure how this team's really going to be. It seems to me that this team could really be kind of like an active club or not be so good. And this Orioles team right now is going to be better. I think any club's going to be a little easier for them. But this team could really be kind of fast or not too good. But this team today had a lot of hustle in it, had a lot of good teams. I don't know what the lineup was for today, but I did see the first three. But the whole thing looked kind of different. Different. It really looked different because all of this was going into the two where they're going to have the starting nine guys that they'll have on the field. In between this was, I think a lot of these teams will look better. I think a lot of the Orioles talk is going to look good for this coming week, tomorrow. I think the Orioles will look better tomorrow what they were today. Today was wonderful. I don't know what this team's going to look like, but if they come up here with 14 guys, 14 pitchers, I think this one's going to be a little bit. That bullpen last year was so bad. This was so bad last season because I was a little leery about what the bullpen was going to hold games with the Orioles right now. But I think this one's going to looking kind of on the tight part where this one's going to be a one team to another. But I think this one's. Let me say one thing for the minor league teams. I think the Orioles will be ready to go in the spring. I think a lot of these teams, I mean, this one's going to look good for what they have or what they don't have. This minor league team, like the Bowie Bay Sox, they'll begin with the Orioles where they'll have to make a cut or two. They'll have to make cuts and stuff like that. But honestly, I think a lot of these teams will be a little bit better than what they usually happen. But any baseball team can look bad, but this team looks good. With an 8-1 record right now in the Grapefruit League, I think they're really doing wonderful. Tomorrow will be 9 wins so far tomorrow, but this one's whoever said these Orioles won't be good, but I think they're going to be better from what I can see what the pitching's going to look like. If the pitching is better during the week, I think they'll be all right. But if it just keeps steady like that, they'll be okay. But I'm just saying this was kind of like straight out. But this team can really be kind of like they want to be ready for the season. I want to see some good, solid plays being made and before the ball hits the wall like that last season. And I realized that because there was a lot of missed balls last year being not being played like that. But I went to the ballpark last year, and it really didn't. The only reason I'm kind of concerned about this is how is that bullpen going to be? How is that bullpen going to be? You think about it. Think about it, folks. You could see a lot of coverage coming out of that team right now and just say what they're going to look like during the season. And I really think this season is going to be a wonderful season for the O's, but they're going to really have to cut down. But Jackson Holiday, he really did a good job this afternoon. I mean, he did a lot of good for the O's. They scored so many runs, I don't know what happened there. But something happened. Sometimes these things really start to work and really get into these guys. And I think a lot of these teams are really going to change their teams down a little bit more to get all these teams together for the season. And I think this is like if it was certain teams that really wanted to be really close or closer to that. I mean, it just seems like it really seems like the Yankees are really not going to be a certain team that they were. And I think this was, well, the team I think they'll be ready for seems like it's really going to be so easy to be played in. You know what I mean? But being played in, you honestly think of all the baseball that you see during the season this year, is really going to be a very serious team right now. And it is going to be a very, very hard team to really be ready for. And it is going to be so close this season to try to get this team together. I think a lot of these guys will be ready to go this summer. And I think the Pittsburgh and the Orioles play tomorrow afternoon at about 1:05 from Bradenton, Florida. But the way I see it is, if his team can really play better baseball, I think they'll be ready. But we'll have more on this story as we get to the O's tomorrow. I'll have more updates as I get them in tomorrow. I'll have a show on maybe after the ball game's over tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a pregame show tomorrow, and we'll talk about some of these guys and have some interviews for this ball club. From this ball club going up on toward this season opener, of which they'll be open against Los Angeles Angels. I think this one's, how long did they know? I really think this team's really going to be an active club this season. I know they're young. I know they're going to be good. I know they're going to be well. And I think this team's really going to be an active club, but I still think they're going to be better than any team that I know. And I know a lot of these teams, it's been so long that you know where the team's going to be putting down the rosters. That's one thing I'm really waiting to see. I'm really waiting to see where these clubs are really going to fit in this team. So stay tuned for more baseball talk tomorrow, beginning at 1:05 in the Bradenton area. And we'll also have more updates as from the Orioles organization from Mike Elias. We'll have his opinion on this. We'll have more interviews later in the year, and we'll continue to update this story as you hear here. We'll see you on Monday. We'll see you Monday when my next show is going to be. It was the final score again this afternoon. It was 7-3. The final score here today. It was 10 runs. No, it was 3 runs on 10 hits and no errors. It was 7 runs on 8 hits and no errors for the O's. So the winning pitcher was Urban. They got the win for the O's. So that is the final score here. We'll have more of our. I'll see you on Monday. We have our next telecast from here. I'll see you next week. I'll see you later. We'll end the show here. So I'll see everything on Monday. So we'll see you Monday right here on Masson, a special edition of O's Extra. So we'll see you later on Monday. See ya.